Hey everybody, this is Andrew here at the Tower e-bike repair shop. And we're coming to the end of the year, so we're gonna, talk about some bike trends that we think are gonna be really popular in 2022. So one of the first bikes we're gonna talk about are sort of bike styles that we think are gonna be really popular in the next coming year is we're gonna see more and more direct-to-consumer bikes at a lower price point with mid-drives on them. Because for lots and lots of years, typically mid-drives were limited to, kind of higher-end systems like Bosch, or Bros, and really limited to higher end bikes, bikes from the big companies. And they had a pretty big entry point where most of the direct-to-consumer bikes typically ran with rear hub motors like we're all used to seeing. Brands like Bafang are really coming out with fantastic cost-effective mid-drive units that a lot of companies are starting to get OEM on their builds. So like this Bike Tricks Stunner here is a great example. Comes with this 750 watt mid-drive Bafang motor. And this bike's also interesting because it does include something that we also think we'll see more and more in 2022. And that is sort of these rear internally geared hubs or smart hubs. And one of the reasons that we really think we're gonna, see these explode in 2022 also has to do with the rise of these inexpensive mid-drive units. Again, because typically the more inexpensive bikes would have that rear hub drive. And having that hub, you're basically limited to either have a freewheel or a cassette mounted on there, and you'd have some sort of chain or derailleur for speeds. But having this mid-drive then opens up a lot of possibilities on the rear hub. Obviously, we'll see, 12 speed, 11 speed, 10 speed, chain, derailleur, regular bikes, but we're gonna see a lot more of these internally geared hubs like from New Vinci, Shimano, or Sturmey Archer. And one of the other things we're also gonna see that we've seen a little bit of, but we think they're gonna absolutely explode in the coming years, and that is smart hubs. Things like NVOLOs that will actually link up with your electric system and sort of give you smart shifting or more intuitive shifting. There's a lot of possibilities there, and we definitely think a lot of brands are gonna run with this and do some really cool things. One of the other sort of bike models that we think is gonna be very, very popular in the coming years, and you may have seen them a lot already, and that is a moped style e-bike. Bikes like Super 73 style bikes or like Onyx RCRs or like Juice Scorpions, typically having a 20-inch fat tire with much more of sort of a moto moped style frame. We have talked about these a little bit in a previous video. If you're curious about, more of our in-depth thoughts on those, definitely check out the video. The short of it is they're super cool bikes, a lot of fun to ride, but there are a lot of peculiarities you definitely got to remember about those bikes. One of the big ones are the geometry and frame design of the e-bikes are not like a regular bike, so they're a little bit more difficult to get up and on work stands. And the other big thing is a lot of these companies will use a blending of bike parts with some motorcycle parts, and as a result, you can get some tough places on finding where to get the bike serviced, as one place a lot of times can't necessarily service all aspects of it. Another style of e-bike that we think is going to be very, very popular in the coming year are cargo bikes. We've already seen them pop up everywhere. As more and more people see electric bikes as alternate forms of transportation, we begin to see these styles of e-bikes kind of expand out for more utility purposes. And one of the big things we see a lot of cargo bikes on are carrying kids, having whole families that want to go out and ride together, but don't want to have a whole gaggle of bikes. They just want to have the kids ride on the back with them. Cargo bikes are fantastic for that. One of the other big styles that you see on cargo bikes are more like I said, utility and work jobs. I'm sure you've seen ice cream carts and stuff, but we've started to see smoothie carts and barbecue carts, all sorts of things, all on cargo e-bikes. So really the possibilities are endless, and we're definitely going to see more and more of those as they become popular in the US. One of the final e-bike styles that I want to talk about are more kind of city style bikes, bikes like a Propella or like a Priority Current, ones that typically have like 700 skinny road tires. A lot of times these bikes will have like a belt drive with some sort of internal hub or be single speed. We've seen lots and lots of brands do really cool things, and a lot of these brands have been a little more basic side, but I think we're gonna see a lot more specialization in this field. We're gonna start to see carbon frames, we're gonna start to see smart hubs built into these, and one of the big things that we as people who work on e-bikes hope to see is a little bit more design going in to make them easier to service. Because currently those bikes, they absolutely look cool and look sleek, but that is because they hit all the cables in the frame and they are very difficult to work with. So it'll be very interesting to see in the future how those pan out. And the final thing I want to talk about is not necessarily an e-bike model in particular, but it's going to be sort of an e-bike feature that we're going to see more and more. And that's smartphone connectability. We already see it in big brands like Bosch and Bros, but we're starting to see it more and more in even, direct-to-consumer things like Bafang. A lot of really cool things are happening in the e-bike world. Then the smartphone technology is definitely something we think is very cool, because a lot of them, instead of having this little smart screen, you can basically use your phone, and your phone give you the full readouts of everything. Some companies make it a little more simplistic and basically just make it a little readout. Some companies actually go really in-depth and try to style it out and give you a little more features, a little more in-depth analysis and control of your e-bike with those apps. So those are some things we're excited for 2022 that we think are gonna really blow up. What are some thoughts you have? What are some things you think are gonna really blow up? What are some things you hope to see in the e-bike scene? Be sure to let us know, and thanks for joining us. Hope you have a great day.